Good morning, everyone. I made an extensive trip across the West Coast in the US, and I thought I'd share some details with you, and maybe you can learn something, and maybe you can help me with some questions that were raised during this trip. Spent a lot of time in LA, Silicon Beach, met with some incubators, venture capital companies and tech companies, explaining what we're doing with BrickX. I drove up to San Francisco twice to meet venture capital companies. I flew out to Vancouver to meet with the founder of the first cryptocurrency investment firm registered in Canada. And I spent some time with a developer from RChain, which is a scalable blockchain that maybe can help to accelerate the transactions per second on the BrickX platform in Shadow. And I also met the founder of MBC in Shadow. It's a real estate company, and we discussed asset tokenization and bringing real estate projects to the blockchain. I had a lunch with Mike Miller in LA, downtown LA. Mike actually paid for the lunch. Thank you very much, Mike. And Mike is running an international incubator and has a very profound network. I really look forward to work more with him, but his tips and support was very helpful. Also spent 2 days with Sascha van der Most van Spijk. He's the owner and founder of Hub. Hub helps companies to land in the US and find their way there. Sascha and one of our advisors, Chris Hazewinkel, they organized an event of 30 Korean venture capital companies that we could present to. So it was a very interesting event. It was a lot of learning and a lot of discussing, and very happy that you guys organized this. Thanks, Chris and Sascha. A particular learning that I had that I want to share with you is the knowledge gap. Venture capital companies that I met with, they all show a high interest of investing in blockchain projects, investing in cryptocurrency. They also see real estate as one of the prime use cases for the blockchain. They also see that this is an enormous asset class where if we can actually create liquidity, that is a great opportunity, but it needs time to digest the magnitude of the opportunity, to understand what the blockchain and what asset tokenization actually can do for the industry. So this is something that they need time. I like actually to understand how I can better explain and better present the proposition of BrickX, where people easier and quicker understand what we are doing and quicker can grasp the magnitude of the opportunity. Another thing that was interesting to learn, particularly with the Korean venture capital companies, is the regulatory limitations. If these venture capital companies receive funding from the government, partly or fully, they are limited in their ability to invest in cryptocurrency related companies. There were some that could actually invest in crypto related companies, but they didn't have any support from the government, which is some sort of detail that I hadn't thought through beforehand. So it's actually good to understand this. Secondly, in the discussion to cooperate together, what you see is that venture capital companies think more in the traditional way of equity, board seat, control. So we have to sort of redefine a little bit how we can work with these companies. What is important for us is that we find the right strategic and financial partner that can work with us through the next couple of years to successfully deliver this project. The structure, we are obviously flexible to make the structure that suits all partners. One other learning that I had during the trip was the big deals don't happen. What do I mean with this? If you think of the real big real estate portfolios that somebody wants to sell, these transactions seem to be very difficult, 1 billion plus. Why are they difficult? Because people with so much money to invest in real estate, they look to diversify in real estate. And if you buy this type of portfolios, they usually have a specific region or a specific type of real estate that is sort of consolidated in this portfolio. And the portfolio has some advantages in the way it's managed and maintained, and pays much lower fees than if you would sell these off separately. People would incur higher fees for the independently managing and maintaining these parts of these portfolio. So investors want to diversify. The owner wants his best value, but keeping the portfolio together doesn't find any sellers. Tokenization seemed to be a very interesting opportunity because you can keep the portfolio together, but you can still fractionalize and fractionally sell off the investment to a larger group of investors. And I thought several CEOs and CFOs of real estate companies really thought this was a big opportunity. Even though I had not necessarily thought about huge, like $1 billion US dollar real estate portfolio, more about 100 million commercial building. But even for portfolios, it's a very good thing for us to think through and how this could materialize. Finally, I met several real estate CEOs and CFOs that showed immediately interest in if you're capable of creating instant liquidity for this industry, we're super interested. And they showed interest in supporting this. They want to support in legal support, they want to support in infrastructure, they want to have discussions, they want to be part of this project. But the difficulty is to convince their investors to actually move a piece of commercial real estate to a structure where it is tokenized and where it's moved to the blockchain. This is because these investors, again, there's a knowledge gap, and these investors, even though we try to explain the benefits, the immediate benefits of liquidity, it's much easier to transact pieces of the real estate. Also, the transaction costs are extremely low. You can offer to a global pool of investors instead of sort of more local pool of investors, even though they are resistant to change the model that they already know. So there's a lot of sort of education required for these group of investors. So nevertheless, very high interest from these real estate companies to work together and create partnerships with BrickX. One of the questions that's interesting for me, we have several launch partners at the moment, but what we are looking for is to have as many launch partners as possible in different jurisdictions, because we need to learn per jurisdiction how to set up the special purpose entity, how to create a digital twin on the blockchain, and what the legal requirements are for these different jurisdictions. So these are things, if you have knowledge of or you have context where you think that might be interesting for us, I'm very interested to directly talk to anyone who wants to share knowledge on this or has some thoughts. Whatever jurisdiction, North America is a very interesting market, Europe is a very interesting market, Asia is an interesting market, so we want to think through and use our advisors and specialists to think through every jurisdiction. So if you have someone who wants to be first to put a piece of commercial real estate on the blockchain, tokenize this and be the first to create instant liquidity, please reach out to me. I'm very happy to discuss the opportunity and see how we can work together. I hope this was useful, and well, I have to go do some work now. Thank you so much.